Hello and welcome to Room Escape Divas, your podcast on everything escape rooms. This week, we are once again super excited because this week we have Peih-Gee Law to talk to. Woohoo!
Hey guys, thanks for having me.
Hello,
Hello.
Peih-Gee Law. My name is Errol.
I'm Manda, and Mike and Ruby are once off in Babyland, probably not sleeping. So
They're probably going to be in Babyland for a really long time.
I know, but they've been showing up, so
Well, they've been showing up to the Friday night thing, so if you want to hang out with us on the Friday night
and the
thing,
last
that
two
is
podcasts.
That is true. They're
Yes.
hanging out with us because they're trying to get away from baby times.
It's probably very true.
Yeah.
With the 2-month-old, I'm very impressed that they managed to have any semblance of a life at all.
Well, I don't know if they have. I mean, I guess a semblance is a good idea because they just look. Well, Mike does. Mike just looks tired all the time. Ruby doesn't. I'm pretty sure Ruby's very exhausted, but she doesn't look tired.
Ruby's
Mike, on the
classy.
other hand,
Poor
Mike looks like a train wreck.
I wouldn't go that far. Goodness.
Oh, really? Would you say maybe a nuclear blast site? I'm kidding, Mike. We love you.
I'll let you crack up at your own joke. And thank you so much for joining us today, Peih-Gee. So for those of you who were not at Recon, for those of you who were at Recon, Peih-Gee is a very familiar face because she did all of the Q&As with all of the guests. So that was awesome, and she was great at it. And of course, Errol, being Errol, got talking and was like,
What?
we should do a podcast.
Oh,
So
yeah. You mean talking with Peih-Gee? Just
Yeah,
because I'm
talking.
always just talking. This is
you're
where-
always just talking.
Yeah.
Hey, but you skipped over the part that I'm mostly known for.
Yes. I was getting to that. I was building up to it. So for those of you who don't know, Peih-Gee was actually a contestant on Survivor China years ago, and that is so cool, and that's what we're here to talk about today. And of course, you are a huge escape room enthusiast as well, and are very, very much into those. So before I go any further, how about you introduce yourself and tell us a bit about yourself?
So my name is Peih-Gee Law, and I was a contestant on Survivor China, that is season 15, which aired back in 2007. And then I also came back for an All-Stars called Survivor Second Chance, and that was season 31, and that one aired in 2015. But I am a huge escape room aficionado. I've always said, I've always considered Survivor to be one of, the world's best immersive game. It's basically one giant LARP.
It's true when you think about it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's, and there's a lot of puzzle escape room type things in it, such as even the challenges. The challenges are usually almost always have some type of puzzle component to it. It could be a jigsaw puzzle. It could be a side puzzle, or all kinds of different things. And then they also have, they have different things. There's immunity idols that you can hunt and find, and usually those are given with some type of clue, with maybe hidden clues or things like that. So it's fun. And then there's just the competitive game aspect of it.
It's like an incredibly competitive escape room. Sometimes I remember watching the first season of Survivor because it was the new thing. It was one of the first reality shows out there, and it just did this whole new thing. And I remember the immunity idols, and those were a big deal. And but
they didn't even have those back then. That was so that was different. That was winning immunity through challenges. But in more recent seasons, they have this thing where there are hidden clues, right? And then if you have to unearth it, it's like buried treasure. So sometimes they'll be buried somewhere, and there are clues and little maps, and you have to kind of figure out what the clue means, and you have to go find a little it's a different type of idol. That's something that you can use to
okay.
cancel out a vote for you. So it's so that's even more kind of puzzly and escape roomy than just like straight up winning a
Yeah.
physical challenge.
I think I watched the highlights of you actually. That just I just looked up like PG on Survivor, and it came up with all sorts of videos. And there was one that you did with like some rotating puzzle thing where you had to like, I don't know, like you had to put like rings, stack rings, and they all like interlocked or something. And like it that one was what reminded me a lot of an escape room, just with so much more pressure.
And no food or sleep, and it's like 100 degrees.
And you
I
applied for this?
I actually was kind of recruited, so I had actually I had not seen the show before I applied.
oh
Not
wow.
really. So
Wow.
it was just one of those things, happenstance that like, you know, I had just I at that time in my life too, like I'd gone through this breakup and I was looking to kind of go like on an adventure, and I thought, well, I've been kind of bummed out. I'm just gonna go travel somewhere. And that same weekend, a an acquaintance called me and was like, "Hey, this is really random, but would you be interested in applying for Survivor?" And I was like, "I've never seen this show. I don't know anything about it." But I was like, "You said you wanted an adventure, so are you gonna go for it or not?" So I did, and and it's one of those things that I felt like I really needed something like that at that time in my life. Where you feel like you have to really prove yourself. And so I think that's part of what helped me get as far as I did. Like I really cared about, I don't know, winning this stupid thing.
Cool.
Admittedly, I actually haven't seen an episode of Survivor at all. So, like, when it comes to things like, oh, immunity idols, I have no idea what we're talking about. But I'll nod and thinking, okay, I was going to ask, what's an immunity idol? But you told it. So I get the idea. It's like, because I know you have, like, votes and you have to vote people off the island.
I
If
mean,
it's
you
like
guys are
that.
kind of, it's funny because I have actually noticed a large crossover between people who are really into like escape rooms and puzzles. And those things, and a lot of them tend to be like really big fans of Survivor. That's how I met a lot of like my escape room friends. And I think it's because of that kind of competitive puzzly aspect part of it. But basically at its core, it starts off with two teams and you compete in these challenges. If the team that wins doesn't get voted off. If you lose, however, you have to go to tribal council where you all have to decide, you have to vote for one of your own to be voted off. And that's where there's a lot of strategy aspect because like how do you decide who to vote for? You know what I mean? And there's a lot of deals and politics that get made. Between the three of us, you two have known each other a lot longer than you've known me. You'd probably be like, well, we're not going to vote for each other, and both of us are just going to vote for PG, and then I'm gone. But like,
No, no. Because we've known each other for a long time, we would never vote you off. Like, I'd be useful. I'd be useless out in the environment, actually.
Errol would somehow get himself voted off on
Oh yeah,
purpose to just
might
like
be.
go back and like sleep in a bed and
Yeah,
you know
yeah.
in air
it's
conditioning.
it is tempting when I think about it. I would think about it every day when I was out there. I'm like, what am I doing out here? Like, I want to go home and sleep in a bed. I don't want to fight with these people anymore.
Yeah, I know. Like that's a big thing of most reality shows, right? Is the intrigue and the arguments and the infighting and the alliances. And I just know I would not survive. I would also somehow get myself voted off, but
No,
for
no, no.
that
We'd keep
reason.
you in.
See,
We'd keep
that's
Manda
Errol's
in
problem. Yeah.
because we knew that she would be suffering through the whole. That's a horrible thing to say, but it's fun to see how anxious she gets in these social deduction and
I no
elimination
no
games.
and the alliances and who's playing who, and I was just, although I did it in a LARP type scenario. I did do like I played everybody and took sides, and someone betrayed me and then I just took full revenge on them. And
See,
Fun,
you're
right?
perfect for it, man, Pants.
humans are horrible in the end.
You
Give
would
them a
be
chance.
perfect because I feel like everyone would believe you.
I'd just be super earnest and nervous and be like, guys, I don't understand. Yeah, no,
Yes. So I
don't.
play a lot of these social deduction games online, like Werewolf and things like that. And like people who always look really sweet and innocent do so well because everyone always wants to believe them.
I wish that were true for me, but Errol, oftentimes when I play social deduction games, it's with Errol, and he usually casts the blame on me pretty quick, even if I'm innocent. And because I'm naturally a nervous person, I look like I'm lying no matter what I'm saying. So I could deny it, and everyone's like, no. And then Errol is sitting there cackling in the chaos. He doesn't even care if he wins. He just wants to watch the world burn. So, or maybe
What?
just my world burn. He wants to
Well,
watch my world burn.
well, everybody's world burning is fun too. I think it just depends on the game because sometimes, especially if you own the game, then they always make sure that you're the one that loses in one of those social, manipulation games. Like there's this game called Lifeboats. I don't know if you've played it or have heard of it. And it's a little bit like Survivor like. You have like you have six people and everybody has six people. And each of them has one vote each, and they all start off on lifeboats, and there's like seven lifeboats or something, and they all try to get towards an island. And on each round, a leak happens, and if it capsizes your boat, then you all have to vote which person gets off. And the object of the game is try to get to the islands before all your people are dead, right? And so it's really cool. It's really fun. But I never win that game because they just always vote me off because I own the game. It's like, oh, Errol's going to win because he's played this game so many times.
What's the criteria for voting people off in that game?
So everybody gets a vote. And so the people always, you have six people. And so people will look around. It's like, oh, look, that boat's heading to the island. That gives you a lot of points. There's a good chance they're going to make it. So since one of their people's in our boat, let's just vote them off, right? And so everybody who's in the boat gets one vote, and it's actually quite fun. It is fun to see people manipulate.
That is very Survivor-like.
Yeah.
It's one of those things. Like we would do that out there when like they suddenly, if you're like a strong one or you've been doing really well in challenges, and like people will vote you out because towards the end game you don't want that person to win challenges. You want to win challenges. So you got to get rid of your competition, right? And so it's like, it's so messed up.
So is it like, I admit, like I haven't watched a lot of Survivor since like that first season, but is it a thing where instead of picking off the weak ones first, people try to pick off the strong ones first and then keep the weak ones next to them so it's easier later? Is that just impossible because the strong ones are just so stubborn?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of in-depth strategy I could end up going into, but so I basically told you the premise of the first round where you have two tribes and whoever wins doesn't get voted off. If you lose, you have to vote off one person of that tribe, right? So in that scenario, you would think it will behoove you to vote off the weaker people. You want to keep all the stronger people. So if you win a challenge, nobody has to go home, right? Here's the thing though. After a certain point, when like the first, I don't know, 5 or 7 people have been voted out, you suddenly are merged when there's only about 10 people left in the game. And this has changed recently, but we'll just say 10. Say there's 10 people left in a game out of like 16, 18, or 20. There is only one tribe, so they merge. And at that point, there's no more group immunity. There's only individual immunity. So only one person can be immune. So now you do want to try to vote off the strong people, right? If only one person can win, you want that person to be you, not the strong person.
Yes.
So the strategy has evolved over the years as people are watching this, and they realize there's been people who have won every single individual challenge. And so in some of the other seasons, people have been like, let's just vote this strong person off in the early portion of the game, before they have a chance to win individual immunity. And so the strategy evolved then too. So that's what's kind of interesting, is there's always a response to previous strategies, and like iterations, and like it changes, and things like that. But like it's become one of those things where you have to manage your threat level. So that's part of the game. And then another part of it is what they call jury management, because ultimately at the very end, you have to vote for somebody to win. So it's like the strategy of the game is, how do you vote people off in a way that they will still want to vote for you to win at the end? So
that's true.
Like you can't just be a dick. Like, right? Like you can't just do it with that really thought for consideration for people's feelings or whatever. You either have to be sneaky about it so they don't know it was you, or like find a way. I don't know. It's tricky, and I think this is what makes it kind of so interesting even after all these years, because it's been on the air for 20 years now, 40 seasons.
I know. Holy crap. I honestly did not even know it was like
Still on.
here 40 seasons on. I knew it was like long running, but I don't have cable anymore, so I don't hear much of it. And when I heard, it's like, oh, it's still on. It's still on. Jeez. Sorry.
There is a really dedicated hardcore group of enthusiasts and fans, and so I think that's really what kind of keeps it going. Just like, just like with the escape room community, like those people are they're really into it. They know all the ins and outs, all the terminology, everything, right? Because ultimately it's a game. So I think that's what keeps it really interesting.
So you got back from Survivor, and you that must have been a relief a little bit, just to get back to a bed, I guess. But and a few years later, escape rooms are invented. And so when did you discover those for yourself?
I got into it pretty late. Like, to my infinite regret, I never had a lot of really like nerdy friends out here in LA. A few, but like.
So in other words, you're thinking to yourself, so the people I'm with right now are nerds. I think that's what PG is saying.
No, I've always been a nerd. I've always been like a really big nerd. So like I used to play like D&D, and I've always been into fantasy and puzzles and all that kind of stuff, right? I just didn't have a friend group that was really into it. But so I didn't go to my first escape room until about maybe only like 4 years ago, something like that, like three, like 3 or 4 years ago. But one of the guys that took me to my first escape room is this guy named Miles. Miles Nye, is that his last name? But he consults on some of the challenges for Survivor. And then like he also has a company where he creates these kind of escape rooms, but more for like large corporate events, things, things like that. So that was kind of like one of my first introductions, and he knows a lot of people in the industry, and I've been going and playing a bunch of rooms, and then I actually really got a big introduction to like the main escape room industry through this guy named Tommy Houghton, who you guys probably know. He has Stash House here in LA.
Yes.
And so my friend Anthony Robinson, who was on Survivor Fiji, had gone down to do his room. And me and Anthony are friends because Anthony is also a big time nerd. Like he does LARPing and all this stuff. Oh, and I know he writes or he edits for No Proscenium. So he's really. Yeah. So he's really kind of involved in the whole universe, and he knew I was into these things. And so Tommy is a big fan of Survivor. And so when he met Anthony, he invited like a group of us to come play his room. And I don't know, I met Tommy there, and we just like hit it off really, really well. And we've been friends ever since. We play he's part of or I guess I'm part of his team, but we do, all of our games together. But it was really cool when he had us come play his room. He did a special like kind of Survivor theme for us. So he hid all around the room these little scrolls of paper, and each paper had like a little clue to a code at the very end. And so if you collected enough of these scrolls of paper, you could figure out the clue to open the lock, and only one person got in and won like an extra prize or something like that. So like when I played with these guys, half of these guys had never done an escape room before, but they'd played Survivor. They knew what like hidden immunity idol clues were. So like half of them didn't do anything with the room, and all they did was run around trying to find these little pieces of paper so they could win it. I was like, that's not the point. It's like, come help me.
There's a game here.
And like people, I'd look off, there'd be somebody scurrying off in the corner, like shoving something in their pockets.
They're all trying to make their own alliances suddenly. Oh dear, that's hilarious. Oh, that's awesome. A Survivor. Has anyone, like, apart from like the personalized 22, has anyone done a Survivor themed escape room that we know of? I haven't heard of it. It would have to be. I guess that would be tough because it's
It'd
licensed,
have to be
right?
sanctioned
Yeah, it'd
by
have to be
Survivor.
sanctioned. Like they'd have to get the IP somehow, or Survivor would have to do some promotional thing
I
to
would
like,
love for them to do that. Like I'm
yeah,
like, like maybe I can like talk to some of the people that I know in production and be like, this would be a really cool marketing thing.
plant that seed.
I mean, this is like I always feel like escape rooms just really need much better PR. Like I feel like some kind of PR to be like, this is a cool thing, this is really fun. And you see it happening with some things like where it's getting associated with like movies or cool things coming out like that. That's what I would really love to see happen.
Yeah, it's one of those things, right? Marketing is so important and so hard to do when you're not like tied to a big name. And we do have some things in Toronto. In Toronto, we have like we'll see occasional ads on subways for an escape room, but it's very few and far between.
I think Survivor would actually be a really good I think
Yeah,
it matches the branding very, very well.
yeah.
So in this last season, which was all winners, so they had enough winners now that they had a season where all the players were previous winners, and
Nice.
they did this special thing where there was and the people that got voted off, usually you're done and you go home, but they didn't do that this time. They kept them around on this island, like Extinction Island. I forget what it's called. But they're
That's
still
pleasant.
so they all hang around on this island, and it sucks there apparently. And they're waiting for a chance to come back in the game. And every so often they would receive like a lock box, right, and there's like an advantage inside, and so there would be like these puzzles, and all of these puzzles, a lot of them were kind of like these escape room style puzzles. So one of them, there was this thing up at the top where there was like, it was basically like a giant combination lock, like wooden, these wooden tumblers that were like this big. And people were like, how the heck, what is the number? And what they didn't realize is that when it came with the box, there was like a little like necklace thing. Each person had a box that had like a little necklace with like shells that were strung on it. And what one person figured out was that the number was the number of shells. It was like 5 and then not 3. You know what I mean? Like the number of shells that were tied up in this thing. And so it was like 5 shells, 3 shells, whatever. And that was the combination. So she went up there and figured it out and opened it. And she came back and like sabotaged everybody's necklaces, I think. She like smashed, she like came back and like smashed the shells, like a couple of them, so that they wouldn't be able to know the right number. People would never get the right combination.
Oh my god.
So this is
cutthroat.
competitive escape rooming.
I was gonna ask you. So, like, a Survivor, it has things in common with escape rooms. But if there was one element of Survivor that you wished you saw more of in escape rooms, what would that be? Would it be the competitiveness?
Oh God, no. I always prefer collaborative games. I like games where I can like play together with a team. That's usually my preference. I don't mind going head to head with another team, which is fine. But the idea of somebody like going around secretly sabotaging my work is a nightmare.
We did play a room like that here in Toronto, in which you had the opportunity to sabotage another team's work in a room. And
Well, it's not so much sabotaging the work. I think you could sabotage them by giving them more puzzles to do, if it's the same room I'm thinking about.
That's all right.
Yeah.
is that all right? Was it that?
Are you talking about Nanny's Gold Rush?
No. I'm talking about
Oh!
the Curiosity shop.
Oh, right. Wait,
captive.
You could sabotage people?
Yes. Yeah, that was, well, we didn't end up doing it because we were like, I don't wanna. Okay. Like, we were separated into 2 groups, put into 2 separate rooms, and at some point, if one group got out first, they had the opportunity to go into the next room and sabotage it for the next group, if they so chose to.
So not for your own friends, just for the next group.
No, for your own, like,
it is for your own friends.
Your own friends, because we have all private bookings here, so we went in as a group of 6. We were divided up 3 and 3, put into separate rooms, and yeah, but we just we just were like, I don't feel like doing that.
Well, I think it
Thanks
would have
though.
been hard. It would have been hard because it was hard enough to solve things on your own.
Well, there was that, yeah.
So
Is it sabotage like they will never be able to solve it, or like it just gives an extra harder component like
I think it was going to mess them up. I can't
Yeah.
recall because we
It was
never
gonna
bothered.
it was gonna mess them up, and yeah, but I guess when they had corporate groups come through, corporate groups
Oh.
went for that immediately and like would just stab each other in the back and stuff, and yeah.
well we're getting Jim from accountant. He's not
Yeah.
it's like
I think for corporate groups, they know we're not going to win anyway, so let's just make sure nobody wins.
I mean, I don't mind like what do you guys think of like this trend now where people are giving options at the end of games?
I think it's very difficult to design. I think it can be done well, but sometimes it just feels tacked on, and for the sake of being like, "Woo, what are you gonna do?" Because most of the time we don't feel that invested. We don't feel invested enough for it to feel like a struggle, especially when they're like, "Do you want to choose to be evil or good?" I'm like, "Good, I guess." I mean, I guess, and like there's no real struggle there. Is that the kind of option you're
Yeah,
talking about?
yeah.
I think,
yeah.
as Manpan says, is like if the stakes aren't high enough, we don't care, and if the stakes are too high, then it almost seems random because you can't develop enough in the game for you to understand what the stakes truly are, and so it's just like, hey, it's one or the other. Just pick. This. Okay, that was the bad one to choose. Like, oh crap.
Yeah, I think since Bandersnatch came out too, like things like Bandersnatch, things like and video games where that's their whole thing is like you have to choose, but you're usually a little bit more invested in the story in video games, and
And you also can like do reload.
yeah,
That's true.
yeah, you can also reload and be like, what was the other choice? You're not. It's called. I just learned the term for it. I didn't know it was called this. What is it? Save scumming, I think. That's what it's called. Where you go back and back and back and keep trying other options until you get the one you want.
Oh,
So
like with what I used to do with choose your own adventure books.
Yeah.
yeah, like you're
yeah.
putting your finger in the page and you're like, here we go.
Is it scrubbing or scumming? Actually, I don't know.
Is it scrubbing?
I don't know. That's the term you use in video, so that's why I'm just assuming that. But it could be scumming. I have no idea. Maybe it's
That could
based
be
on
scrubbing too. I
main
could have it
comprehension
completely wrong.
engine.
But I don't know. How do you feel about options at the end of games, PG?
I don't mind it. I actually do like that you can choose to be good or bad, and like
Yeah.
you know, some of the ones that I've played, it's not so much like it really affects anything besides just the congrats, you say, you know, you saved everyone, or like, you're now the evil mastermind and you're you know, in for 100 years of providing evil misery, like you had to take his place, you know, whatever. Like I think it's kind of fun. I like
It's
anything that
fun. Yeah, I think it can be done well, and it has in a couple of instances been done okay, like been done pretty well. I just think it has a ways to go before it feels like it has any sort of like real not consequence, but like a feeling of a consequence, I guess, you know,
I think
because it's not real
there-
life.
I also see in rooms not so much multiple endings. Well, I mean, it is multiple endings, but better win states than so different levels of win state where you could win really well. It's like, oh, okay, you did somewhat okay, but you didn't solve this, and so on, right? And
Oh, that reminds me of like, did you guys play Jury Duty? Did you do that?
no,
Not
we
yet.
haven't.
I'd love to. Yeah.
There,
So I
there's
won't,
yeah.
I won't ruin it too much, but with that one, I feel like there are different types of like, it's like you got almost everything, but you didn't quite catch this one thing. So I'm like, I didn't realize that there were multiple, you know, multiple things that we had to catch, because basically you had to, at the end, you had to deliberate and you had to say who you thought did it, where, and you know, like, and it's like they were like, well, you didn't catch this detail, but you got the larger one, like, you know, of who did it and what was ultimately happening. So I thought
And
that
I
was
think
cool.
that's a bit more interesting because then I think that's easier to make. Trying to make multiple endings all be good, I mean, all be satisfying for a person to play is hard. But if you have a different level of win state kind of ending, then if it's a fair game, then you'll go, oh no, I missed that. But if you get it, it's like, oh, wow, yay!
It's like the criminal got away, but at least you know who he is, I guess.
That game was like, I think 40 minutes of me in just profound confusion, just overwhelmed and confused, and then it's like everything kind of comes together in like the last 10 minutes.
Oh. Yeah, that is me in a lot of remote games. It's a lot of overwhelmingness, like overwhelmed feelings for the first half, and then I finally get a sense of what I'm actually doing, and then it's okay, now I know.
It's been better now. I think a lot of
Yeah.
rooms have really kind of managed to streamline the flow of the game a lot better than they did in the early days when it was really like the Wild West. Because I started reviewing all these games for Hive Mind
Yeah.
for Room Escape. So I review games for Room Escape artist Hive Mind, which is covering these online remote, like virtual, but so many names for it, escape experiences, all different kinds. So I've been like playing probably like 2 or 3 a month at least since
Ooh.
May, if not more than that sometimes.
Yeah.
I know it's
Oh,
funny
man.
because, you know, I don't know, was it probably like over a year ago? A lot of us didn't know who Peih-Gee was, and then she like exploded into the industry. Or maybe because we're so heavily involved in the escape room industry, we just, you know, Peih-Gee is everywhere now, which is cool.
Who is this?
You're like, who is this person? Well, I actually, I met Errol on Twitter because I did Cryptics Hunt and I was tweeting at him.
Oh.
That's how like I first like kind of was like, who is this character? Because I was like, I need help with this. And he was like, did you print it out? He's like, did you print it out? And I was like, no. He's like, it's meant to be printed. I'm like, okay.
Wait,
So,
I
like,
don't, did I say that?
yes.
No, I think I said it's easier if you printed it out.
I think the person with Cryptex PTSD would remember the
So
you
that,
know,
okay,
the
Amanda,
feeling of what you said.
so I printed it out, 200 and something pages, and I'm like, it's still like it's just still not really working. And he's like, did you print it out double-sided? I was
Yeah.
like, what?
Yeah, trust me, you are not alone. You are far from alone in feeling that. Like, imagine being me. I'd had no access to a printer except my work printer, which I had to sneakily go up and print things off on like company paper. And
I was still happy that somebody's talking to me on Twitter, so that's always a good thing. It's like,
that's probably
yeah.
what you were like. Oh, look! And meanwhile, like we're all like wanting
Oh
to
my
murder
God.
you. And,
I had to give myself a crash course in like Photoshop because I was like, I don't think this is working with the printing. So then I tried to do it on Photoshop where I'm all like, let me like make it half translucent and how do I flip mirror, like to
oh
get
yeah.
But you got it! Yay! So, I'll give people a little bit of spoiler now. There's no printing, I don't think, that I'm aware of involved, hopefully, within the next
for 2020
2021.
or
But
2021.
I was actually working on the Cryptex Hunt when I was waiting for this to start. So
Yeah. Currently the Cryptex Hunt is still it's further than a glint in your eye. So don't say that there's no printing required yet, because time will tell, sir.
I am so excited. I loved it. I thought it was so much fun. I loved the novel. Like, I thought the puzzles were really fun. I still have not solved the meta puzzle.
I was gonna ask, had you done many puzzle hunts before that, or was that your first one?
That was actually probably one of my first ones. I kind of dipped my toe into the 2019, the magazine.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I kind of did a little bit of that one, but it was kind of tough, like doing it alone.
Yes.
So, but I did spend quite a bit of time on that, and they always come out in what, like around February? Is it?
Yeah.
The end of February, March.
So February is a good time for me to practice because every February I spend 2 weeks in Tucson where I'm like working and I just don't know anyone there. So it's like I always have a lot of time to sit and do puzzles while I'm out of town.
So sorry, you're just always in Tucson every February for fun?
No, it's for work. So
okay.
So I'm a jeweler by trade.
Oh, cool.
Yes, I saw that on
You're
your
a
email
jeweler?
signature. Yeah.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah, so every year in Tucson, Arizona, of all places, it is like the world's largest gathering of like jewelers. It
Ooh.
goes on for an entire month practically. There's probably about, I would say at this point now, upwards of like 30 different gem and mineral shows all around the city. So different types. They're in like, the convention halls, the big ones, but there people will have them in like motels, like all around the pool, all inside, like inside each motel room. You walk up and down, and every room is like a little shop you can go in. So I do a lot of my buying and selling there, during that time period.
Oh wow.
But like I said, I am out there alone. Oh, this is kind of a funny story. So like right before the start of all of even these online games, um, I was out there and I was like, I want to do an escape room. I might have told you guys, I don't know. I was like, I want to do an escape room out there. So I figured, well, I will book a public game. That way there will be other people I can play with, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Um, so I booked one, I think like Ace of Escapes, I think it was called. They were super accommodating because I showed up there and no one else had bought a ticket for this game.
Oh.
Oh
So it is only me. This is like a 20-person room. Like they allow up to 20 people. And I'm like, how am I going to get everything done here? And I was talking to my group, my friends who like Tommy, uh, Brian Corbin, who designed Miss Jezebel.
no. Ooh, nice.
Corbett. Shit, did I get his last name wrong? Brian from 60 Out to design Miss Jezebel. So we were in a group chat and I was telling them and I was like, and they were like, do you need help? Like, we'll help you. And I was like, I will ask if you guys could help me. And this was before any remote games or, this was
Yeah.
back when everything was just open. And so I was like, hey, do you guys mind if like my friends back at home like help? I'm like, can I send them like videos and stuff? We won't share it. It'll just be for us. And they were like, sure. So like I
Wow,
was
that's really accommodating. That's amazing.
That is accommodating, yeah.
taking video, I was sending them photos, and so they are helping me remotely, like and I'm in this room, like I'm the avatar. But it's really difficult trying to like get materials together and film and shoot, and like they're solving these puzzles faster than I could even get the materials together. And I remember at some point I'm like, I'm not even playing this. Like I'm just like accommodating them to play this room. And and it was fine. And afterwards they were like, that was really fun. And I remember both of them immediately were like, there is something to this playing remotely. Like they were like, and they both were like still wanting to start designing a room revolved around this remote play. And then like little did we know,
Well, perfect opportunity came up. Oh my goodness.
2 months later, it would be all like played that way.
Do you have any favorite remote experiences so far that you've played since you started?
Oh my
in
God.
May?
So many. So many. Oh gosh. And it's weird because it really evolves as you play and they kind of get more slick
Yeah.
and there's different kinds. I just played The Exorcist, which I loved, by Emergency Exit, and they're in the UK. Have you guys played
Is it a
that or heard of
scary
it?
one?
It's a little bit scary, yes.
Okay, that's fun.
I haven't
Cool.
played a lot. Just to.
I've yeah, I
Manpans has played
actually
far more than I
I've
have.
actually had to I actually started with an entirely new team and got to know them, and so I have my remote team and I have my in-person team now. It's kind of weird. But
Because
yeah.
Manpan's the more hardcore of us all.
The Exorcist is a really good scary game, and like I I have played scary games that remotely are not to me, like I don't think it's that scary played remotely, but that one, they had some really, really good videos that were quite convincing. And I was like, oh, like
Ooh.
this is a little bit creepy. So, spooky
With
season.
all the found footage stuff, I keep thinking there's so many opportunities to make a good remote scary game, right?
Yeah,
Like,
Yeah.
yeah. Uh,
yeah.
my other favorite game, which is kind of more of an immersive experience, I guess, than an escape room, is Project Avatar, which I really love.
I
I,
literally just played that last weekend and
And
what
I'm
did you
it
supposed to
think?
play that, I think.
loved it. Uh Loved it so much. It was really fun. It was just super fun, and it's probably the smoothest um
Their tech is
like
so
remote
good.
experience I've ever had. The tech involved, I like there was no, like, usually in a remote game and you have to like go off, like they'll say, okay, time for a cutscene, and then they'll like post a YouTube link into the Zoom chat, and you click on that and you wait for it to load, and everybody watches it at different times or something. This one was like everything was within the
Oh
game.
my
All
God.
the interface was in the game. The inventory system was great. And the avatar himself, the guy who's playing your avatar, it was just amazing what he could do with just hands. That's all you could see.
And full of personality without saying a
Full of
word. Like,
personality. Yeah,
to
just
to me, this is like really the standard in a remote experience. They have a custom interface, right? So like when you're watching it, the information is presented on his screen. So like the lives, the amount of things you've
yeah.
found, like the inventory, like she said, it is right there in front of you on the interface. Like it's really like a video game, like how the information is all
It's
right there
it reminded me of
on the
Doom,
screen.
like playing a game
Yeah.
of Doom or something.
I I liked how he always had two hands
Yes.
showing, you
Or
know,
like, and we're always like floating like a, it was, yeah,
uh,
yeah,
because that really gives you a way to orient, like, it's
yeah.
less jarring. And their cutscene, like, talk about cutscenes though, like their cutscenes were incredible. So like you would walk into a room and you would know it's a cutscene because they do this little like wavy thing, but then it's like it's filmed, the scene is filmed in that room, like it's so
Yeah.
realistic. It's
It's
so
very
good.
seamless. It's a very
Yeah.
seamless experience. Yeah. No, I recommend it. It was what was it? We oh, crap. Lost my train of thought. But yeah, and I didn't know what to expect from it. Like the way our remote team works is one of us books it and the rest of us just kind of show up.
Just show up.
So like, and I was like, what's this Project Avatar all about? And it's like it was 8 a.m. for me when I played. And it was like I literally just woke up and logged onto my computer and then it was like, blah, oh my goodness. The
It's
heck
very
is
loud.
this? Yes.
Uh, well, I actually liked it so much I booked it again for my siblings. Like I was saying, I wanted to like, see some of my siblings. Like my brother lives on the East Coast and they haven't actually not played any of these remote experiences at all. I don't know
Yeah.
that escape rooms are really their thing. They like them, but they're not as like obsessed as I am. But
Yeah.
I think
It,
it'll be fun.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's what I remembered I was gonna say. It was like when I was doing my Q&A with you for characters, and that this is a great example of a character. Not a lot to them. They're not like three-dimensional, complex or anything, but gosh, they're enjoyable and they're entertaining and very consistent. So like it was one of those examples of like you don't have to be complex to be fun in this. So to
I
be
mean,
entertaining.
I will say that like I've realized is my biggest criteria for how much I enjoy these remote experiences is always the avatar. Like for me,
Yes.
it could be kind of like a not that great game, like I've looked back at some of the most fun I've had and I'm like, this game is probably a mediocre escape room. Like in person, standard, cool,
Yeah.
not, but if the avatar is like really enthusiastic and engaging and funny, like that for me, that's what seals the deal. And likewise, I've played rooms that like have gotten great reviews and somehow I don't know if I caught the avatar on a bad day or whatever and it completely ruined my game. This happened to me with, I won't say what game it is because I'm sure it was maybe he was having a bad day, but like the avatar greeted us with like, we were kept in the lobby until the game started. Once it came on, I was like, oh, hey, there's a couple of people in the group that hadn't met. So I was then making introductions, like a couple minutes, just, hey, and literally like the guy playing the avatar cut me off in mid sentences, was like, hey guys, do we really have to make all this small talk about where you're from and stuff? And I was like,
Wow! Oh my goodness, that's horrible.
it was just so rude. And I don't think it was part of the character. I was so taken aback and I was like, okay, like, okay, we can get started right, but it made me just not like him right away. And I'm like,
Oh, that's bad. That's so bad.
I don't even want to help you now. Like, I hope these ghosts eat you. I don't
Employee
like,
of the month. Employee of the month.
like one of my teammates was so offended. She just left after 20 minutes. She's like, I just couldn't even deal with it. So.
Wow. Oh my goodness. Well, it's not like a regular game host, right? Who like brings you into the escape room, gives you the briefing, puts you in the room, and then is largely gone for the rest of the experience. Like, you're with this person for an hour, so they should be,
And and it's a large
engaging.
part of it is most of the premise of this is they are like, can you help me, right? That's the premise of like, why are we there talking this guy through a room? It's like, hi, I'm here with this thing, like I need your help.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't want to help you.
Screw you.
Yeah.
Let me tell you about my hometown now, okay?
Exactly.
Then maybe I will consider giving you the combination.
Yeah. And there's been other, like I played on this room by Escape, is it Escape One? Algarve? It's a company in Portugal. And again, this room is kind of a basic standard room. It was all right. I mean, it was fun, but like they had a couple NPC characters in there that were kind of like the hint givers that was actually voiced by a person, backstage. And it was so much fun. And for me, that made the entire experience super enjoyable, So I really enjoyed your talk about characters. I wish more people would really push that in their rooms. And the guy was even saying like they were blown away at how popular this guy was. I think it really came out of necessity.
Yeah.
But they're like, we didn't expect it to become so popular. And like, they're like, everybody is saying like, that's one of been their favorite part is like this weird NPC that kind of just makes funny jokes in the corner and occasionally gives you, hints.
Yeah, exactly. It just makes it that much more. Well, it helps to bridge the gap, I guess, too, with some of the things that a remote experience might be lacking, right? It's like you don't get the tactile feel of the props. You don't get as much of a wow moment with the tech because it's, off somewhere else. It's not right in front of you opening up into this massive room or something. So
people started to realize that the GM is important, or the game moderator, or the NPC, or the actor in there. What I'm hoping, and I doubt it's going to happen because they're still expensive to hire, but it'd be nice if they'd be able to integrate that into a live game now. I mean, that was our whole thing, is the fact that there weren't any NPCs in escape rooms. And so that's why we ran our own, because we wanted to have NPCs in escape rooms.
Oh, what if for a Survivor idea for a remote game, some like player and Survivor like smuggled in an earpiece or something to try and like cheat? You're trying to help them win the game.
I smuggled stuff in when I did Survivor.
Oh, what did you smuggle in?
Do I have it here? Let me see if I can. Do I? Oh, I do have it right here.
Yeah.
I made a bunch of sneaky MacGyver stuff. So like, I'm a jeweler, right?
Ooh.
So like, my dad actually made these for me. Can you see this? It's like an earring.
Yes, holding up an earring.
So it's actually a steel fish hook. Can you?
Oh wow, yeah.
So we cut the barb off of it, and then like made it into like these little earrings. And then I did something else really sneaky that so I took a flint, and these I got on like Amazon, and it's meant to be a toggle on like a survival bracelet. So it's about this big, and it already had 2 holes drilled in it. And so I took it and I wrapped fishing wire around that, because I was like, well, I have these fish hooks. What am I going to do without fishing wire? So I wrapped fishing wire around that a bunch of times. I just glued the end. And then I wrapped like some twine or like some decorative ribbon around that. And then I just like, sewed it onto a little cardigan thingy that I had. And it totally got past wardrobe, because you have to submit clothing to wardrobe. And it got past wardrobe. It got past all of that. And
Wow.
so on day 1, I like pulled it out and I was like, you guys, I have this flint. And then like production took it from me. They were like, and I remember that one of the producers, he was like, he's like, no one has ever managed to smuggle flint all the way out here onto the beach before. He's like, I would love to tell this story. He's like, believe me. He's like, I just can't let you have it. He's like, I have to take that. And I was like, no.
Oh,
like,
wow.
This is bullshit, because here's the thing. People have made fire from their reading glasses. So like I know
Oh,
so many players who actually included reading because you are allowed certain things. Like you could bring
yeah,
glasses if you need them, right? So
yeah.
a lot of people have brought in glasses to use specifically just for making fire. Like they don't even need them, because I mean ultimately because reading glasses are just like a magnifying lens, right?
Right.
And so if you put a drop of water in it and you can focus it and kind of like make fire that way. So I'm like, okay, if your glasses can make fire, like why can't I have a cardigan that
Well,
that makes fire?
next time. Oh, well, not that there's going to be a next time, but you're just going to have to keep it for yourself until much later. Then
I know. Well, the whole point is that you don't always get flint. You don't always get flint on the first day. Like you will eventually usually get it by day
Oh,
4, but
okay.
you really want it on day 1. Like you want to have a fire, you want to like boil water or
Yeah.
cook
Yeah.
rice.
You could have just
Like
started it. And it's like, how'd you get that started?
I
Uh,
know, I know, I know.
I'm
That's
just
what's
I don't know.
amazing.
Just let me put my earrings back on.
I have magic powers.
like I'm like, how do I magically be like, you guys, look, I just found this in the forest. It's like a burning flame.
Oh, that's fantastic. That's good to know.
Anyway, sorry to take us off topic. I
Oh
just
no,
happen to have this
no.
in
I'd
front of
like
me.
this is really interesting. Well, it's like I wonder if like yeah, it'd be things like that where like you could make that a game mechanic almost. Like can you sneak anything in? It's like it doesn't necessarily mean you lose the game if you don't, but it might make your life easier or something. And
Well, I like
So,
the idea of. Sorry, go ahead, PG.
oh, I was gonna say, well, back in the day, they used to have this. They used to allow this thing called a luxury item, right?
right. Yes, I do
And
remember that.
so it could be like a toothbrush or,
Right.
whatever, like
Flint.
well, so technically it's not supposed to be that, but like for example, on my season, and we didn't get our luxury items. They don't always give them to you. They'll tell you to prepare it, but they don't always give it to you. And so there was this beautiful blonde, like, sorority kind of girl. Her luxury item was a slip and slide, right? And she, but she's like, it's basically a giant tarp. Because we have like rainy season, and I was like, that is super super smart. So mine was like a jewelry making kit,
So for more
which
fish hooks.
yeah, right, like really useful. So there's opportunities to kind of sneak some things on with that, but they don't allow you to do that anymore. They don't. I think they actually on my second season that I went on, they were like, we don't have luxury items. We have what they call like an emotional support item, like
Like a
so,
rabbit.
I
like
really
a
need my slip and slide for emotional support,
right.
please.
It was like a letter, like a photo album or something.
Okay, yeah,
I
yeah.
think I actually like it when escape rooms try different things. And we have mentioned this on the podcast before, but there was an escape room here that allowed you to purchase items before
That's
going
right.
into the room. So you were given like, oh, here's $6, and then here's a list of inventory that you could buy, and then you'd bring it into the room with you, and then hopefully they would help you with the puzzles. And I thought that was really cool.
It was really cool. What did you want to buy, Errol?
And it was neat because, you like, I don't know if, like one item would cost, for example, a black light would
Yeah.
cost $3 or
Yeah.
different things.
So the
And
cheapest item on there.
the cheapest item on there was a rubber duck.
Yes.
And the idea was that the rubber duck was useless.
And
so,
nobody was supposed to buy the rubber duck because no player had bought the rubber duck.
but no, we wanted to buy 6 rubber ducks with our
You
$6.
wanted to buy. You and Benson wanted to buy 6 rubber
But they
ducks.
wouldn't let us buy
No,
6
because they
rubber
didn't
ducks.
have 6 rubber ducks.
But
Because
I
it was
think
like
that would have been brilliant to give
it was
us.
like that moment on The Simpsons where they're like, "Or you could have an elephant," and like in the contest, and he just picks the elephant, and they didn't actually prepare for someone actually
Like a
wanting
new
that.
car.
Oh, I would have been so happy if we could have gotten 6 rubber ducks. Benson and that's what we wanted. I would have I would have quacked that duck like mad throughout the
Yeah.
whole game. It would have been
Yeah, I'm glad we
amazing.
got some useful items.
Did you get at least the one duck? Did you get one duck?
We did get one duck, but
Yes.
it wasn't the same.
It wasn't 6 ducks though,
Wasn't
so
6 ducks.
what are you gonna
Oh.
do?
I
And
like the idea of the currency in the room.
yeah,
I think
Yeah.
yeah. Before you go in, just to prepare. And the interesting thing was we realized that if these are items that are additional, but you don't need them for the room, that's why we thought let's just get 6 stocks because the whole room is still solvable. Should still be solvable regardless of what you get. I think
Yeah,
they're
we
just
also
there to
had a
help you.
crack team with us. It would just have made the puzzles a bit easier, but the people we had with us just could have solved it anyway. So,
well, I
yeah.
like the idea of it letting you buy extras. Like
Hmm.
before they closed, one of my favorite companies here in LA is Level Games. Who did you guys play Menagerie, which they put online? Like
No, I didn't get a chance to. I know, I heard such great things, but
that was probably my favorite in-person room. Like, and mostly because they're one of their trademark styles is these really dope mechanical puzzles, right? Where it's not
Mm.
things are triggered. It's not triggered by like magnets or anything like that. It's like a gear, something like you turn the
Yeah.
gear and these things spin and like something opens. Like it's really really cool. They had this room that was like their newest room was called Fortune Teller, and I only
Mm.
played the beta of that. I didn't play the final one, but I remember in that one there was like you would earn these gold coins and you would use them to buy items that you would use in the game. But like I feel like there's fun stuff to be had with that. Like if you get extra coins like for solving extra puzzles, like it'd be cool if because there was a character in the room, there's a guy in the room also. So like if you got to buy a fortune or some fun extra, right? Like you get a little bonus for like doing like more puzzles than you really needed to solve it.
That's cool.
I think that would be a fun mechanic.
Yeah.
There's a cool mechanic in Seattle, and it's from, oh my goodness, Escape Team. I should know this because we talk to the owners all the time, and now I forgot. It's the volcano room that we did.
Oh yeah.
And
Yeah.
the idea is that you have to solve as many puzzles as you can. And every time you solve a puzzle, then you'll get like coins or medallions, and you can get more
Medallions of some
puzzles.
sort. It was Jennifer's room,
Yeah.
but I can't remember the name of the company. Crap.
Escape
Now I'm
Team.
blanking on it.
Yeah, I know. We're horrible today.
So like my
Anyway,
friend Brian, who did Miss Jezebel, who's another one of my favorite games. He has a physical room in LA called Tiki Time, where that mechanic is the more puzzles you solve, you start off with like maybe like 30 minutes, and then as you solve puzzles, you get time added,
Oh,
right?
cool.
Yeah, so it's like the more you solve, then the more puzzles you're kind of rewarded with more because with
oh,
more puzzles because his
mm,
whole premise was like it doesn't make any sense that if you are really good at solving puzzles, you are somehow penalized by having a shorter experience, right? So he was like, I want to reward you for being good by getting more. You get more puzzles. The more you solve, the more
Interesting.
you get.
yeah. There are a
uh,
lot of different mechanics we found that people try to use that mechanic. Sorry, and it's actually really cool when we find it. And any escape room that does and attempts things different, even if they don't fully succeed, I'm super happy because they're just trying new things, and that's always exciting for me.
Yeah, another one that does that is, and I'm not going to spoil it for you. I won't say how it does it, but Agent November. I don't know if you've played that one yet, PG.
I did play that one. That's the UK, right?
It's in the UK, yeah, and it's an avatar led room again, and yeah. Anyway, they do something neat as well to help add on time and stuff, and it actually allows players to have fun in the room as well as solving the room. So it's
I don't
That's
I
all I
don't
want to do is have fun in a room.
yeah, yeah. I know. So going back to a previous question I had, because I realized I'm like, I don't think we actually ever answered it. If there was works both ways. If there was anything from Survivor that you could hope to see more of in escape rooms, or vice versa, is there anything from escape rooms that you would like to see more in future Survivor seasons? That is.
Oh my gosh. Well, I do like the direction they're going in now with more of the puzzles that they're doing, with the challenges. They're incorporating a lot of these kind of more cerebral puzzles into them. And like I said before, with finding advantages, like finding clues, finding things, and a lot of those puzzles are now kind of couched they're very, very escape room like. So some of them are gosh, I wish I knew better terminology for types of puzzles, but what is it when it's like the first, like the first letter of every line reading down like a
Indexing.
little message. Indexing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
they've been doing things like that because the contestants will get like a little letter with like just I don't know, like telling them what's okay, there's this thing happening. There might be something out there. Who knows if you can figure it out? And people are like, how do I figure this out? Like, how do I get, and so they will show an up close on the camera of it. And so they've been doing a lot of things like that, like I told you before, with the necklace, with the numbers on that. So it, I wish they had that around when I played. They did not have any of that like 10 years ago. But
Right.
they're doing more of those types of fun puzzles because I think it's fun to find stuff. Like,
Yeah.
that you can earn advantages. And I think that really helps different types of players too, right? So maybe you can't win if you're not like this big, strong, buff dude. You can't win challenges that way, but you're good at this kind of stuff. Like, so
That's
I like,
true.
I like seeing those things available. It's a little something for everyone.
Cool. Well, I'm sure that designers for escape rooms as well could probably watch Sub Survivor and get some inspiration from that as well, especially for those who are looking for the bigger type challenges and stuff, and maybe have the space to do it.
It's
Yeah.
interesting because I do know that when Scott and Shannon were doing the Red Bull mind games, just the whole how to make puzzle and challenges in escape rooms exciting to watch on the big screen. Because it's not, they're not all puzzles will be exciting to watch as we all just sit there and go, oh.
Just sitting there ciphering like,
Yeah. The red monkey is right next to the blue monkey, but can't sit next to the green monkey. So
I mean, even with Survivor, like I find it really annoying as a player, certain things what they force us to do because of the cameras. So like when we are doing a puzzle, for example, you cannot do the puzzle on the ground. You have to put all the pieces in and rearrange them there, and they are double-sided. So because the camera's on that side, you know what I mean? So it kind
They're
of, yeah,
double-sided.
it really
That's fun.
trips me. It's totally tripped me up before. But the other thing that is annoying is that you have to work on everything while it's in the frame. You can't pick up
oh,
pieces and do it and then put it in once it's complete. Like you have to rearrange them there.
oh yeah.
They just need to make the puzzles bigger. That's
Oh, they're big already.
Oh, okay.
like some of these are like 8 feet. You know what I mean? Like so some of the puzzles they'll do are like these are like big heavy pieces. So it's like you have to go and retrieve them, bring them back,
Oh.
and then someone has to work on it there.
Annoying.
But it gets you fit.
Right? Like if you have any energy left after not eating. I think I lost like 30 pounds when I did the first season.
Good Lord.
Yeah,
Wow.
I would not survive in Survivor at all. So I'm not pretending that I'd be the first to die in a zombie apocalypse. I'd be the first to die on any hardship, actually. So
Any hardship.
yeah, I know.
I would love to see like somebody who played in the Red Bull mind games. Like I want to see one of them on Survivor. I think that would be super fun.
That would be interesting. Yeah, for sure. We'll have to see.
Well, what they need to do is Survivor with normal people, like
Isn't that the whole point of Survivor, that it's normal people? Like I thought that was the whole thing.
It is.
Yeah. But like, nerd Survivor, where it's just, I don't know.
people who can't.
But
do
people who
anything.
suck at sports into Survivor and watch them go.
Well, not even so much sports, just living out in the wild. I'd get rashes in the first 5 seconds.
Put all people with hay fever into Survivor.
But that's what makes that's what would make you good TV. Like half of the most popular characters out there, like one of them, Suri, who is one of the most popular survivors, in her first episode, this was a woman who was afraid of leaves. Like she was kind of collecting leaves like to put in a bag for like a pillow. She's like, oh God, what's it? Like what's in there? Like what is it? And like freaking out. And then by the end of it, she was running the whole show, and it was so like it's so fun to watch these people who are fish out
Yeah.
of water. Like that's kind of, that's part of the point. That's part of the fun.
Well, yeah, you do want to. It's the quirks that make good TV, right? You always see the weird characters who have these weird hang-ups suddenly.
I think you
Like,
guys would both be great on there.
I would die. I would die. But it'd be fun. No, what am I talking about? No, but I would die. So do you have a lot of games coming up, PG? A lot of escape room online. Actually, do you have any real life ones you can do now out there in the burning lands?
I don't think any of them are open, which I think is a shame because to me, like they're one of the safest forms of entertainment out there. I mean, during quarantine wise, right? Like you're in a private room with just your household. I feel like it doesn't really get that much more isolated than that.
mm,
Escape rooms are open here, but you can only play with. So I played one with my family, and that was really fun. It was good.
Did you feel safe?
Oh yeah, we were in masks. It was just us four in the room, and it's not like we're licking the railings or anything like that. So
I think if I wear a mask and if you wear gloves or whatever, like wash your hands afterwards, I think it's totally fine.
I think we're used now to not just touch our faces and our eyes. So yeah, no, we were fine. We didn't worry about anything, and they did a lot of good. I mean, for example, they would stagger the teams. They would clean between every team, so it was fine, totally fine.
Anyway, we're about an hour now. Sorry, I just realized for some reason Zoom at an hour 10 kicks me out and then logs me back in immediately. Don't know why. And I think that's why I got my track splits into two.
Oh.
I don't know why. Gonna have to look at that. Anyway, well, we could probably talk for another 3 hours easily.
Well, I hope to talk more with
Yes.
PG because
Yes.
you monopolized her from me. Now I can't talk. No, I'm just
I
kidding.
monopolized her. I'm sorry.
Oh, I wanted to talk to PG. No,
You did talk to PG.
Yeah.
I thought. Anyway, I'm sorry.
no, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Anyway,
I would
but
have talked about really interesting things for me, but probably not for a podcast, right? Because
Like what?
I don't know, just like, oh, hi, you've seen me talk to you and other people.
You've seen me talk to you. that will make it so clear for our listeners.
They will. They'll totally understand.
But I feel like that's the kind of stuff they would like to hear anyway, is half of the time it's just the small talk and getting to know the
No, it's true.
personality, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm just a random person.
Well, can I ask, I'm sure you guys have probably answered this in other podcasts, but I'm curious what your favorite remote experience has been.
So far, like it depends on the type, I guess. So like on the style, because I did really like Project Avatar for just the fun factor, I guess. And then for I'm trying to think back, Miss Jezebel actually was just fantastic.
I loved it. I played it like 3 times, twice online and once in person.
Wow, you played it 3 times.
And there's good reason to. Like I would totally go with another group of friends and just to see how they would interact with the room. I would just sit there and watch them, and yeah.
Because it's not even about the puzzles so much. It's just kind of
It's
this
not.
immersive, interactive. It's interactive theater, really, is what it is, right?
It is, and then for like complete audio experiences, I feel like Agent Venture was very enjoyable.
Oh, I've been wanting to play that.
That one's fun, and that one did the best job, I feel like, of splitting people up to different roles and having people work in tandem, so it wasn't always 4 people trying to control one person. It was like, there was people could do things, we could share documents with each other. It was great. There's a lot of great ones that I played, but those ones are the ones that stick out in my mind the most, I guess.
Those are fun, the collaborative ones, like Truth About Edith.
Oh yeah, that one's super fun. It's so cute. It's like such a crazy, wacky premise, and you're just with it. It's great. Yeah. Um,
So are you gonna make any of your own puzzles or escape online things now, PG?
Me, oh my gosh, I made one for my sister for her. I made like
Oh, there you
a
go.
escape room at home for my sister for her birthday.
Actually, yeah, I think I remember you were mentioning you were doing that too. And did that
oh,
go well?
Yeah, that one was really fun. I kind of use like social media for that one too. So like so for example, one of the puzzles I did was I had all of her friends post a like a letter, just a random letter in their Instagram stories, right? And my sister told me she
Ooh.
was looking through them and going like, "What the heck is this?" And then and I had them do it specifically that morning, that I knew I was going to run this game for her. And so one of the things was I had them all also do like a birthday greeting, like, little birthday video, happy birthday, love you so much, blah, blah, blah. Like she cried for like 10 hours after she was done crying over that one. Um, I had another puzzle that specifically, when you solved it, it said Instagram stories. And she's like, Instagram stories,
oh,
Instagram stories. And so she goes, oh, it's those letters. So now she realized that was part of the puzzle. And then what she didn't realize was that I also had in the videos that they made for her, I had everybody hide like a number in it. They would either hide it or say it like a few times
yeah,
that you wouldn't, and so she eventually realized, like, she's like, oh, it's like the numbers in it, and so that was the order of the letters
yeah.
that was hidden in it. So that I thought that was kind of, I don't know, it was fun. She liked
No,
it.
that's
That's
good.
fun.
Do you know how
Yeah.
many designers don't worry about things like order and just like, oh, I'll figure it out? It's like, no, I'm just so happy to hear that happen.
Oh, that you don't just make them
Congratulations.
unscramble it.
Yes, drives me mad. Anyway,
Well, it's
I'm
just
just.
an anagram, guys.
I hate anagrams the worst.
Oh yeah,
Yep.
no, it's true.
Anyway, so if people would like to find you online, either as a former Survivor contestant or as the jeweler, where can they find you?
So I am at PG everywhere, but it is spelled kind of funky. It's my first name. It is at PEIHGEE, and that is the same for Twitter and Instagram. I've also been streaming on Twitch. So I stream these Survivor game nights where I have other survivors on and we play like One Night Ultimate Werewolf, other social deduction type games, things like that. And so that is twitch.tv/ PG, PEIHGEE. And that's my Twitch channel, so you can join that. Oh, and I'll also give a plug for my Patreon, if that's okay.
Yeah, of
Oh,
course.
plug
This
away.
is where you do it.
So it is patreon.com/ PG Plays. And that is, again, my first name spelled out, PEIHGEPLAYS. And so that was really for people who want to support like my Twitch streams, but also it's become a really cool gaming community. So everyone that's on there are not only are they Survivor fans, but they are like fans of gaming and board games. And so I got this group together, these kids, and they play. I don't. We play like they sit and play these games like all the time, which has been really cool because of this like social distancing. We get to play online and through Zoom, and I organize and run like all these kind of wacky games for them. So
Yeah.
if you guys are fans of Survivor, fans of board games, you want to join a cool community, come join my Patreon and meet a bunch of other cool people.
Cool.
PG is busy. Wow.
I know.
Very busy. Well, thank you so much, and I'm sure that we will definitely be talking to you in the future. At least Errol will be accosting you at the very least. So, yeah. Yeah.
What?
Thank you so much for having me on. I could come on all the time and talk escape rooms like nonstop. So I would be more than thrilled to come talk all the different rooms, all the games, like all the things.
Fantastic. Good to hear it. All right.
She can be our new host because that's what she does. And
That's
then,
true.
and then everybody will say, we don't like the Errol guy. We like the PG person. And then you kick me out. Thanks, Manpans. Wow.
I honestly don't think anyone could ever possibly replace you, Errol.
No.
But it might be for the better for a lot of people. So that, it'd be good. Anyway, you can talk us out, Manpans. Thank you so much, PG. And we'll put all your information in the description, too.
Great. All right. Room Escape Divas is brought to you by Inverse Genius. You can go to inversegenius.com to find other fun podcasts just like this one. You can also email us at roomescapedivas@gmail.com. Errol's making saliva sounds into the microphone unintentionally, but it's happening.
Oh, that's like ASMR. Is that what? Did I just get the?
Yeah. I don't know, something like that. Anyway, go to the Facebook page, click the like button on the Room Escape Divas Facebook page. We do have community meetups every Friday for at least the remainder of, I don't know, by the time this comes out, I don't know. Ooh.
Well, I'm still doing them, but they're secret.
Oh, thanks, Errol.
Just kidding, they're not secret.
See, this is why he'd be good on Survivor. It's going over to my secret meeting now, just to trash talk you. Anyway,
Well, you're part of the secret thing. How could we trash talk you?
oh no, I thought you meant you had another one that you were gonna
No.
do. Okay, that's how it came across. Okay.
See, now you don't know anymore. Vote him out.
Yeah.
That'd be the first one.
And if you're using Twitter, you can use the hashtag REDivas. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.